Hello and welcome back to the Non-Ec Nonsense Podcast, a show where the pay is questionable and the ENC points do not matter. I am Kat Gold.
And I am Michael Materdomini. Welcome back to the Chaos, episode 2.
Woohoo!
Let's do it.
We haven't been canceled yet. It's a miracle.
I know. Once we got the first one out, I was nervous. I was terrified. I was like, oh no, let's see how this goes. We got
I was
some
waiting.
lovely reception. Shout out
I,
Michael Ursua, making my day. Coming up, talking about
we're,
the Non-Egg podcast at the
even
reading. I
though
was
he's
like,
equity, we're gonna make him come on this pod.
yes, we're the only non-ec nonsense that's allowed. You can bring your equity nonsense in here anytime.
Yeah, come join us. It'll be a gay old time.
Okay, so Kat, tell us what's going on today. What's the schedule for today?
Okay, so I figure we should talk about our background and our training getting into this wonderful business we call show.
Absolutely. I think that it'll work out brilliantly for us because I had such a terrific high school experience, and then my college experience, I dropped out. So, and then you have this just subpar high school experience, and then the most wonderful college experience. So we'll complement each other well in this portion of today's episode.
Listen. If any of my teachers from high school are like listening, it wasn't that I didn't know I was going to be doing this at that time.
That's fair. I don't think I
Let me
was either. I mean, I went and I was excited about theater and I was like ready to go. And then I had my doubts and I clearly put my doubts to work because who does theater and then randomly manages a trampoline park for 4 years? But we're here, we're blessed, we're stressed, and we're ready to hit the stage. So it's all good.
hell yeah, motherfucker, hell yeah. All right, so I know you kind of talked about like how you got forced into a show when you were in third grade, but
Yeah.
um how did you get into the arts? The arts in general.
So when I was young, I was so terrified to sing. I hated singing. I was just the most miserable child in choir. I made awful faces all the time. And when we
Of
got to
course you
fifth,
did.
oh, of course, I still make awful faces. But I was given the opportunity in fifth grade. They were like, you need to choose a quote unquote art class. So it was either band or choir. And I went, sign me up for band, please. I do not want to sing. I'm all good. So I
So
get
fucking lame, a band kid.
listen, it has its benefits. I'm now able to read sheet music and sight sing. So like all that kind of stuff is great from it. But I look awful doing it? Yes. I when okay, so getting into Dreyfus, my first track was band, and I
Mm-hmm.
brought in my trumpet and I was ready to go, and I get to the audition and I bomb hard. I
Oh
was
no.
awful. I forgot everything. Like I got in there and I blanked for the entire 30 minutes of that audition process.
Just
I walked,
panic set in.
yes, I was doing my scales and I was like, why don't my fingers work? It was terrible. So, I walk out and I look at my mom in the face and I'm like, I did not get in. If whatever score is the lowest, I got negative, like of that score.
No.
So my mom was like, oh, well, thank God I signed you up for theater. And I went, huh? I went,
You
oh,
didn't
okay.
know?
I wasn't like a massive fan of it. I told her I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to do band, but she was like, "You're doing it." And I was like, "Okay." So I went to my acting teacher and I was like, "Okay, like I need a monologue and I need something else." I forgot what it was,
The
but
auditions were far apart enough for you to do this?
yeah, it was like 2, 3 weeks in between each. So I was like,
Oh,
"Okay, I have a
okay.
solid amount of time." So I did a monologue from the Marvin's room. And I got in there and I did my monologue and they were like, okay, great. Now, what are you singing? And I went, I have to sing. And they went, yes. So I was like, I don't have a song. And then they were like, well, sing happy birthday.
The
And I was,
default when everyone shows up like unprepared.
yeah. So I whipped out the greatest rendition of happy birthday that 13-year-old Michael could have done at the time.
Did you do like riffs like those annoying people?
Oh, no, I didn't sound like Fergie. I did it like an 85-year-old grandpa. Maybe that's why I, have the roles that I do today. But I sang it very, classical and it
Hmm.
was,
Like
it was,
Andrea Bocelli.
yeah, I did it to the best of my abilities. And I walked out of there and, we did the dance call and everything. I forgot what the dance call was, but I walked out and I was like, well, that was the best that could have gone. Right. And I got put on the waiting list. I got in and I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God, but I got put on the waiting list because band was my first choice. And theater was second. So I got put on the wait list and I didn't hear for a while. Like all the people that I was with heard. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go back to my old school, whatever. And the last day of school on eighth grade, I got a call and they were like, hey, someone is not coming to the school anymore and you're in. Do you want the spot? And I remember just like turning around to all my like basketball friends and all the these macho men, and they're like, "Dude, you ready to like play ball next year?" And I was like, no.
I'm gonna go razzle dazzle them instead.
I'm gonna go play pretend and shoot jazz hands and like go crazy. So that's how I got in. I mean, I didn't know how much of a big deal it was at the time, but it was just I don't know where I would have been if I didn't, but thank God for my mom, making me do that kind of stuff because, this is what I'm doing now and I'm in love with my job. But it could have been a totally different life plan if I just did band and quit after that, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Like
you could have been annoying without getting applause.
I could have been like one of those
Yeah,
guys.
too much, too
Well,
much.
what about you? Tell me about like your middle school kind of upbringing before you got into high school with all this kind of stuff because you started young with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, if I'm correct.
Well, so in general, I even though it was never going to be like a thing, like my dad's a musician, like he played rock and jazz fusion in Spain for like many, many years. So, and he was a working musician for a good majority of his life. So, like, music was always in the house, you know. I always sang, but it was like a hobby. It was never like, this is going to be my job. I'm going to be insufferable for a living. That was never going to be like my path. Um, and the only reason why I joined theater was I was in an art class and my friend, because I love painting and stuff. My friend was like, "Hey, you should come join the show. Like you're really weird and I think you would gel well with these people." And
Okay.
then I was like, "Ooh, this is my new hobby now." But like high school, I went to a high school to learn medicine. I did not go for theater at all. I got into a pre-med program at Lakeworth High
Oh my
and
God.
like yeah, no, I was supposed to be a doctor. Such a disappointment. The Philippine my poor Irish Filipino mother. She's so
Hey, you can pretend to play one. You could technically be a doctor.
damn straight, damn
Mm-hmm.
straight. Grey's Anatomy, I'm coming for you. Season
Oh, see, yeah.
573.
Episode 5,331, and we still have the same characters. I don't want to get on a tangent of Grey's Anatomy. I was like obsessed with that show until like spoilers. I'm gonna give it 2 seconds. One, two. O'Malley died, and I was so upset that I stopped watching the show. I was like, "How dare you, people!" And then I took a step back, and I was like, "Why am I so invested in Grey's Anatomy?" And then I was like, I need to make better life choices. And then I stopped watching the show. So no drag on Grey's Anatomy. Like super proud of you guys for going like, I don't know, 3,000 seasons in.
They're
But
still going. It's ridiculous.
is it? Oh God.
I
No,
think there's only like two of the original people left. Like it's not
somehow I've never seen so many doctors die in my life. Like everyone dies. And
how
I'm
many
like,
travesties need to happen in a hospital?
yeah, I'm like, there's a plane crash. One guy gets hit by a bus. Like, I'm like, guys, like, what are we doing?
Drowning.
Anyways,
It's all sorts of
yeah,
fucking
don't even get me
chaos.
started.
No, so I thought I was gonna go into medicine, and then like halfway through high school, like I decided to like tell my family, guys, I've decided I'm gonna do musical theater, and everyone was like, no. Absolutely not. Like, and I
I
just I remember having a meeting with my drama teacher, Mr. Ryan Lee. I love him to bits. Like I still talk to him. He comes to my shows now, which is really fun. But he like sat me down with like an article like from the New York Times about actors equity and like the percentage of like working actors and like how much money they actually made per year like in the
Mhm.
theater business, which is like a terrifying concept to talk to like a 16-year-old about.
Yeah.
But there we were. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a starving artist and live off of ramen noodles. It's going to be great.
The ramen noodles hit hard when I got to college. I like never ate ramen until I got to college, and I was obsessed with it for like 3 weeks. And I bought my mom got me a case of it, and it was like a 50 pack, and I was like, ah, like I was thrilled. And then after 2 weeks of being there, I was like, no more. I can't. I'm gonna
See, see,
explode.
see, my parents were divorced. So, like, my
Oh,
dad always had a stack of like Kraft mac and cheese and like top ramen, baby. That was
mm.
my after school snack for a very long time. But, yeah, no, that was my but yeah, no, I got into theater because of my drama program, but like I did not go to a fancy school like you. So tell me about like actually like when you were in the program, like how did that work?
Gotcha. So I didn't go to Bach, which was the middle school of the arts. I don't
Yeah.
know. I felt comfortable at my school, and I didn't think I was gonna do like theater or whatever. So I was just like, let's see how it goes. So
Mm-hmm.
when my first day, I missed the bus. I had to get right back to my dad, and he drove me to school and he dropped me off.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was in a polo and some jeans, and then my mom got me a nice watch, and I was like, maybe this is what public school is.
You wore a
Um,
watch to
oh
high
my God, it
school?
was such an awful choice. It really
You were
was.
like planning to be like a fucking accountant or something.
I
Who, where
I
is that? Like a
I had
frat
a
boy in
I had a
training.
I had a bully me sticker put right on my back. But I started making friends in different majors, and I was
Mm-hmm.
still trying to find my footing. And they did lend me a tenor my freshman year as the play. And
Let me just say, Let Me a Tenor is a very questionable show. I don't know why it keeps being done because it basically is like, we're going to do some level of blackface in this show. What? Like I know the female version, the Lemmy Soprano, at least it's the actress is doing Carmen
mhm.
instead of Othello. It was just I saw it for the first time like I don't know how many years ago, and I was just like, this show is still happening. I
Listen,
mean, a lot of people pay their bills with this show, but like this
yeah.
show is still happening.
I love a good door slamming farce though. So like
Oh, me
having
too. Like Boeing, Boeing, love that shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like
it
Moon Over
just
Buffalo style show. I
yeah.
love those shows. So I was on build crew because you needed like
Mm-hmm.
a certain amount of hours every semester to pass like a grade, like an exam.
They made you do that kind of shit in high school.
Yeah, 50 hours a semester. It wasn't terrible. And like
That was like the shit we had to do in college. Damn.
yeah, so they were prepping us for the real world, which I really appreciated.
I guess like they were
Not
prepping you
back
to be like
then.
abused by the theater system, but whatever.
Not back then. I was like, but like now I like, I look back at it, and it was great about how strict it was. Like I appreciate programs that have a strict regimen, and they like you have to get stuff done because my brain works better in those environments.
Yeah.
So, I was on build crew for hours, and
Mm-hmm.
little, 13-year-old me is using like buzz saws and power drills and like all this kind of stuff. And
Some kid is gonna die one day.
I shot
I,
myself with a staple gun. That did
oh
happen.
my
Yep, I had God rest his soul, Mr. Blanchett, the sweetest man I ever know. He was
oh
my
yeah.
he was the guy that was my technician, and I remember when I shot myself in the shin with the the staple gun. He goes, Michael, come here, and I was like, okay. And it's not bleeding a lot. It's like, yeah, like I didn't even feel it go in. Like I looked down and I was like, oh my god, my leg feels wet. And then I was like, oh.
It's
So
blood.
yeah, he pulls me over and he goes, all right, come here. And I was like, okay. And then he pulls out a pair of like pliers and he goes, all right, on the count of three. And I went, oh my god. And he goes, one. And then he yanked it out. And I was like, ow. And then but then I was like, you are the coolest dude I know. Like it was like this double dynamic of like that really hurt, but wow, that was so awesome. So he was a great mentor to me,
Hmm.
especially before I got into my first show there, which I'll get to in a second. But I putting that set together, as seeing the student collective body put together such a gorgeous set and then have it trampled on by the actors, because lend me a tenor's crazy, with all the doors slamming. I specifically, one night I was this the senior in build crew.
Hmm.
One of the doors got stuck and it wouldn't open for any of the actors on stage. So mid show, he dresses up as a handyman and he knocks on the door and he's like, hey, I'm here to fix your door. And the characters
Oh
on
my God.
stage ran over, opened the door, and let him fix the door on stage while like the show was happening. And
Oh my God.
I just remembered being in complete awe in the wings. Like,
Was it like power tools where like they're holding to like say their lines or like
no, no, no. The guy did it magically with like just a mallet and like, a piece to get into the door. But I was sitting there like gobsmacked about, like, I was like, oh my God, this is like live theater. Because like, besides, I did like the little
damn
Christian
straight.
Sunday school shows. So I was like, this is like some real world stuff. And it
The
was really
wildest shit
cool.
happens in the I remember in college, my first show I did Little Women, and we had this like amazing like two-story set for like the March house, and like the backside was like an interchangeable side. And so and it was a turntable, so like it would spin around whatever. And I'm like about to like walk on to do like Aunt March's first scene, and like the entire like window set piece just collapses onto like where I'm supposed to be sitting. And like everyone on the other side of stage that couldn't see that I didn't walk out yet thought I died. And so like we didn't stop the show. They basically like they had someone like go and like pull it back up, and then there's just like crumbling pieces on the chair as I'm like walking out, and I just kind of like scoop them up in my hand and like try to put them behind the live theater, man. But weird as shit.
It's the best. It really is. Like there's always something going on. I mean, God bless you for taking a tumble down those stairs in Greece, and then I, jumped up and whacked my head on the Broadway sign during Guys and Dolls. Like always something, man.
we I'm shocked that we haven't died yet.
I just shout out to Randall Swinton for holding my body as the scene was continuing on, and I was just out like a light. I was like, oh. And my parents after the show were so funny. They were like, "Did you hit your head?" And I was like, "Yes, very, very hard. And if I didn't have a hat on, I don't know what would have happened." And also shout out to JB Green, because every time he sees me, he asks me if I have my safety helmet on, and I'm like, "Thank you. I know I left it in the car."
It's
So
so bad. I can't go back to the Lauderhill Performing Arts Center because every time I go there, like the run crew there, they're like, hey, man, I remember that fall in Greece. Ooh, that was bad. And like, I didn't have anyone to save me. However, I will give a shout out to you because when I was stroking out, talking to Ashley, going, am I bleeding? I think I'm bleeding. And like just stroked out on my line. Thank God you covered for me.
I stepped in. I was like, "Hey, Raj, can you get me some punch?" And he was like, "Are you crippled or something?" And I was like, "Okay, buddy."
The rest of that through hand jive, it was a blur, a
Cat,
blur.
that was a bad. I thought you died. Like I'm so
I thought I
serious,
died. Are
because
you
it was
kidding
so
me?
like I saw you start the song and then I turned around to do some character work and I was like, oh my god, isn't she so great? And then I turned around and you were like gone. And
Literally,
I was like,
the
uh.
I'm like lifting up a microphone and stuff, and like my heel just like clipped the edge of the stairs, and I just, you know, tumble straight down, slam to the floor. Of course, like my petticoat is like over my head. And like for a split second, I just sat there thinking, do I just lay here and let the universe swallow me up? Or do I actually have to get up and continue singing and pretend that this was supposed to happen?
I thought
Of
you
all
were
the
dead.
songs though, let it be the song where it's like depressed because everything is going wrong. Raining on prom night, I just ate shit. Like it, of all the times, like that's a perfect time for it to happen. But
She went shoot a bop bopping down those stairs. Oh my
I will
god.
never emotionally recover. And then like I just get a text message from Johnny during the show. And he's like, "You are a trooper."
Shout out JBD. I love and miss you so much.
We love you, Johnny. We love
Oh my god, that was so okay. So we went so off track. It was so worth it. Just so now everyone knows that I whacked my head and you completely died. Like,
you. Poor
oh.
concussion boy. Poor concussion boy. Getting back to you, concussion boy. So about your program. So like what shows did you end up doing in high school?
So I was in the ensemble of Legally Blonde my freshman year. So like I was a student and I was the cop at the prison and the cop during Gay or European.
Mm-hmm.
So I was all like in the nice little ensemble numbers, and that was really cool. And then I auditioned for Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I couldn't tap at the time, so that went so well. And then I got called back for Jimmy, and then I cracked in the callbacks, and I was like, I'm definitely not getting this show. And then the year after, oh no, oh my God, that's how I met Marcy Gorman, because she did a TYA show my sophomore
Aw.
year, and we did the Ugly Duckling, and I was the understudy for the Ugly Duckling, and I was a hunter.
You
Uh,
couldn't hack it as the ugly duckling?
and listen, I was too gorgeous back then, okay? But I was ugly enough to be the understudy. And then
Jesus Christ.
I did Shrek my
Mm-hmm.
junior year, and I was the big bad wolf and Fiona's father. So I was playing fathers back then too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the understudy for Lord Farquaad, and that was like my first like okay, be ready at all
Mm-hmm.
times moment because I really love that role. So that was like really big, and then senior year was like it was like a fever dream. Me and my best friend at the time got Gomez and Morticia in Adam's
Aw.
Family, and I can't even express to you how much that process meant to me as a performer because coming from, you know, a school where I didn't do theater and then climbing, and working my way up to such a special role, especially with my best friend, was just
Yeah.
a memory that I will have and cherish for forever. And I mean, like, it's going to it gets shoved in my face constantly. Like, I went to go see Mamma Mia like
Mm-hmm.
last Saturday at
Yeah.
Dreyfus, and this one like police officer that works there, he was like Gomez, and I was like, oh, here we go, 6 years later, I'm
The
up
one good
on.
thing about you doing that role is that like you're gonna age into it like easily.
Oh my
So
god, I
like
want to
it's
play
not gonna
Gomez
it's
again so
yeah,
bad.
it's not gonna be the last time.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know actually how to sing now, so it'll be a lot better. So if any theaters do that, please send those submissions my way because I would love to play Gomez again. I can grow at the stash like nobody else.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go.
But my picture is up on the wall at Dreyfus as Gomez,
Aw.
and when my brother got into the school, he would
Yeah.
walk past it every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and he would just randomly, I love him to death, he would send me photos of him flicking off the photo is me as Gomez, and he would just send it to like the family group chat, and I'd be like, have a good day, buddy.
I
So,
love that. I still do that anytime I go back to UWF because they have like it's like an archive on all the walls like around like the CFPA. So like you could just like walk around and like find like a year and like see
mhm.
your friends and then just like send them a photo of you just like mean mugging them on the wall.
No, my
Good
brother took
shit.
every opportunity to go ahead and flick that photo off. I'm pretty sure he made other people do it at the time. Like there was like one day where it was like 3 or 4 people doing it, and I was like, "Do they even know me?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay,
You're bringing people together. You're creating a community that hates you.
that's true." Honestly, I don't blame him. All the photos of Gomez, I was so in character that
Mm-hmm.
I physically cannot look at them sometimes because of how terrifying my facial expressions are. They're all like I just smell a really bad fart. Like that's what every
Baby, that's
single
your
one.
face on a regular basis. What are you
Oh,
talking
okay,
about?
okay, really? All right.
I'm not saying it isn't attractive. I mean, I am marrying you for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So cool your jets, man. All right.
Mm, okay. Sorry about it. Anyways,
What shows did you do in high school?
too many.
Too
That's the
many.
one. That's the fun part about going to a not art school. If you have like a drop of talent, you're gonna be in the shows. I mean,
Mm,
so like I did a at that point I had done like way more plays than I had done musicals. I think I did like 4 musicals and then like 7 plays,
mm.
something like that. It was fun, good times to be had. Um, I ended up doing Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Mm.
I
Who were
remember
you? Who were
that.
you?
You'd think my mixed ass would be Mrs. Mears. That
No.
makes sense. I was Miss Dorothy.
Oh wow. All
Yeah,
right,
back
cat.
back then I had like the soprano notes. They've left me. They
They're gone.
they left just like my will to live. They're gone, long gone.
Relatable. Okay, so wait. So tell me how you got in contact with UWF and what that audition process was like then.
Let me just so let me ask you first because how was your college auditioning experience? Because
So
I don't think mine is anything like anyone else's.
like I opted out of going to the Chicago Unifieds because I wanted to stay in state.
You were
Just
smart enough to do unifieds when you were in high school.
the school was, I wasn't, I didn't go.
Oh,
Girl, I have Florida prepay. Okay. Like so I my main two that I narrowed it down to was New World School of the Arts in
mm-hmm.
Miami and UWF up in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
And back then it was really close. Like I said last time, like it was like one day UWF, the next day New World School of the Arts. And I went with New World one because I wanted to try to live in a big city. I wanted to experience the big city kind of feel without having to leave the state.
And
Um,
it's close to where your family was, which is,
yeah, it was like an hour and a half drive. God
God
forbid,
forbid an emergency happened. Like
literally.
you didn't have to trek 12 hours like my family did from West Palm, you
Yeah.
know?
So I went to New World, and I'm also like a really big basketball guy. Like I love the Miami Heat, so that was a plus. And then they didn't have dorms, so I had to live in an apartment. And living in an apartment at 18 was just the weirdest experience ever because I was not grown up in the slightest at the time, and I thought I
Is
was like,
anyone entering college a grown up?
well,
Really?
no, but like I was still like a kid, and
Yeah, I fucking get it. I was a fucking idiot.
yeah,
I
no.
was a kid idiot until well, like 2 years out of college.
Cat, you're still an idiot.
Thank you. Thank you
Me
very
too.
much.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Me too. Me too. But I did my year there, and I realized that I needed to do a lot of growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up leaving after a
Mm-hmm.
year, and I worked normal jobs. Like I was a cashier at Regal Cinemas because I loved
Yeah.
movies, and I was like, let's give this a try. And
You wanted that
then,
discount.
girl, please, the discount was great. I got free movie tickets. It was
That discount
gorgeous.
and then that end of the day popcorn.
No, listen, you do not eat the popcorn, okay? No, no eating the popcorn there. I know how it's made. Please stay away from movie theater popcorn. I'm not going to get into it.
Is it like the mint bowl like in a bathroom or something or at a restaurant?
It's not
That
that
kind of
bad, but it's gross. I don't eat the popcorn at movie theaters anymore just because of working there. And like also I came home smelling like it and it was awful. Like it was gross. So I did that and then I quit that job and I was a waiter for 1 day. 1 day. I was like, I can't do this. I was stressed out over like everything going on. And I was like, this is no. I'm afraid that I'm going to drop the food. Like, this lady gave me attitude, and I was like, oh, sorry. And I was like, can't do this. And there was this new Brighton spot, new
Mm-hmm.
place opening up called, there's a trampoline park. And I was like, gonna give this a shot. And I was 19 at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working there and it's fine. The hours are good. I'm just the front desk guy because they're like, wow, he knows how to talk to people. And I was like, well, yeah, I used to play pretend. So, I was good up at the front desk. And then they were like,
Yeah.
hey, like not even like 3 months into the job, they're like, one of our managers just quit. Do you want to be a manager? And me at the time, they were like, we'll give you a pay raise. And I went, gorgeous. So I accepted it. And not if I could probably go back and just like say no, I would have, because that's partially the reason I'm going to blame it on that as to why I'm losing hair.
Oh my God.
Because it was so stressful, Kat. Like I was like, some days I would just go home and like cry. Like I, as 19, getting yelled at constantly, and then like it made me grow up. Like I was 19 years old dealing with all these like grown up people and grown up situations, like the injuries, and then like the gross situations I would get put in at a trampoline park. Like I'm not going to get into it, but like that job was gross some days.
A
And
lot of puke.
a lot of puke. People would miss the toilet in the bathroom.
Oh, bleh.
And shout out Joseph Sherman. He was my buddy there, still is my buddy. He was my manager friend, and I would be the guy on shit duty. Anytime there was
Oh my
anything to do
God.
with shit, they'd be like, Michael. And I'd be like, I hate my life. One time, this one manager, oh my God, I forgot her name, but I was the mid shift and she was closing. And I get home and I get out of my stuff and I shower, and
Mm-hmm.
she gives me a ring and she's like, hey, Michael, did you leave the park? And I was like, no, duh, I left the park. Like, I'm not there anymore. And she's like, well, someone took a dookie on the floor and I'm not going to clean it up. And I went, I'm not cleaning it up either. I just got home. And she was like, well, and I was like, well, what? And she was like, none of the kids want to do it. Could you please come back in? I said, yeah, well, I'm going to take all your hours if you want me to come back in. And she goes, okay. So she went home. I took the rest of her hours and I cleaned it up and closed the park. And I was miserable that day. Absolutely miserable. So,
Jesus Christ.
getting the opportunity back, like I went through something like a life change, and I reached out to M&M Theater Company because I know Marcy from high school, and I was like, hey, I need to like stop doing what I'm doing, and I want to know like when auditions are. And she's like, well, they already
Yeah.
passed, but I'll send in like a tape or whatever, and then we'll get in contact with you like for future auditions. And I was like, great, cool. And then like not even a week later, she was like, hey, we're doing Grease, someone dropped, I need you to sing. And I was like, great, submitted there. And then here we are. So it was, I took how many years? I took like 5 years off from 2018 to 2022. I was done, and then I got back into it. But it was a journey. I did a lot of growing up, matured a lot, and beyond grateful for where I am today, for sure.
Yeah. You went from cleaning shit to being the shit. I'll
Yeah,
see myself out. I'll see myself
yeah,
out.
that one. Wow. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for Nonic Nonsense. All right. So enough about me. Enough about me. I need to know what my life could have been like if I went to UWF.
Okay, let me just say that I was a fucking idiot and I didn't do any of the audition rigmarole for colleges. You know, the thing that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Didn't do any of that. I I basically at that point was like, well, I've got bright futures, so I guess I'm gonna go to a Florida school and like like when I did choir in high school as well, because that was the closest thing to me getting voice lessons because I couldn't afford it. Um, I knew Dr. Flatus from the music department
Hmm.
because they would do this whole thing where like some high school students would like come and audition, be like singing their Latin mass and stuff. And I
Yeah.
got to do cool shit like singing with like Michael McGlennon doing like his his Celtic mass and stuff. Very cool shit. But I was basically like, oh, I'll just go there. Um I knew they had a theater program. They didn't really have musical theater at the time. So I was like, oh, I'll do that. Maybe like I'll double major in music or whatever. Cause I was so on the fence of like going into opera or musical theater.
Hmm.
Like because I really loved acting, but I also like I had a very classical voice at that point because I didn't belt until like junior year of college,
Mm.
like maybe abundantly clear. But so I didn't audition, and my aunt was moving up to Pensacola and was like, "Hey, there's a college up here called UWF, and they have a musical theater program." And of course, like when they have like normal auditions, I missed that shit. So I just emailed them and I was like, hey, I don't see anything about auditions. Like, I, is there any way I can audition? And like, I sent them like my resume and stuff. And they were like, well, if you get into the school, you can be an aspiring BFA because at the time they didn't do like auditions. Instead, they had the fucking Hunger Games. And listen, I love UWF and Sarah Shock. I love you, Auntie Sarah. She's gonna come on to this because she wants to chit chat. And you could really know what you missed at UWF.
Hmm.
But but at the time Sarah wasn't there. But you basically had to spend your entire freshman year auditioning.
Mm.
So there was like 32 of us, I think, when we started, like the beginning of year, and they were like, by the end of the year, there will probably only be 15 of you left, and only 10 are getting into the program. Just kidding, it's 9 because one slot goes to a transfer.
Well.
Well,
Uh-oh.
thus the Hunger Games began. Yeah.
Everyone stick up three fingers for the Hunger Games. Three fingers going up for the Hunger Games.
But so yeah, like we spent our whole like so we were doing like all of our and like at that point like because we were aspiring like we couldn't get like voice lessons either, like we could go and beg professors like if they had spare time to give us lessons.
Yeah.
Like, do you have an hour? Can I have an hour with can I have a half an hour with you, you know?
Please.
Please help me, I'm poor and I have no technique. but um but yeah, so we do all these classes for an entire year and then we do assessments at the end of the year, and based on all the work that you had done that year and like what you bring to the assessment, and they have all the faculty sitting in a line and they tell you like all their qualms they have about you, all their issues, and like
Yep. Been
what
there,
you
done
need to
that.
do. Like,
Yep.
I remember one of my professors, I love him to bits, but he was like, so Kat, we get it. You can sing, but like, what else?
Damn.
It's like,
Damn.
okay, cool. Um,
Oh,
in his defense, I didn't get my shit together until like the end of sophomore year, and
yeah.
even then, not really. I
Hmm.
not really. I was definitely the the dark horse in that race. Like
Hmm.
basically up until like senior year, where like um I was finally balanced out on the medication and I could manage the stress of doing theater.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, no, it was like a year of like auditioning and then just seeing like one by one the fallen victims the
The
premiere was
the
so
cannons are
great.
firing off. You're like, oh no, we
One
lost
by
another one.
another one. DJ Khaled, another one. But
Oh no, 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 no.
but so when people would like disappear, and like some people like they just they changed to a different track like in the department,
Hmm.
like some of them went into tech, or some of them went decided like they were not getting enough like education like on just acting solely, like they wanted to have more of those like in-depth classes, and like because we were like a Meisner school, like they wanted like the specific like all the Meisner classes and like the classical classes.
Hmm.
So like which like you would get access to, but like you just had like a lot of classes to fulfill as like a BFA
Yeah.
for like your program. But yeah, I made it in by the skin of my teeth, and yeah, somehow I got my BFA. I'm
I
just as shocked as anyone at that school.
no, I loved every single theater teacher that I had in high school. Because they were all, they were pushing you to like achieve your goals, but they also were, I don't know, they were, it was the most supportive little group of people. Like, shout out to Michelle Petrucci and Bruce Linzer and
Hmm.
Brad Barfield and Maggie Marlin Hess and Brittany Smoliak. And I'm sorry if I missed anyone else. Penny, I had Penny for a semester as well.
Penny, we love Penny.
And Michael Larson, God rest his soul as well. But
Mm,
you know, Michelle, when she took over the program as dean, I believe it was my senior year. Um, because we were really really close as teacher and student. I was her Parmesan. That was that was our
oh
nickname.
my.
Because she's Italian, I'm Italian. Parmesan, haha, big joke. But it ended up sticking, even to the point where my brother came in and she called him Little Parm. So it was, I had such a wonderful relationship with her. We still talk, a lot of the time. She's come to see some
Yeah,
of my professional shows. I would love to have you on this podcast so we can dig into that dancer brain of yours. But she's a brilliant director. She's a brilliant choreographer. And there were times where she had to harp down on us because we were being teenagers. But at the end of the
yeah,
day, the results that came out of my class and the classes before and after me, there she set like this real precedent as to what being a professional was,
yeah.
which I really appreciated back in the day. And still seeing her kick ass in the programs that she's doing now because she's not at Dreyfus anymore is just I don't know, it's really really cool. Like she inspired me to want to teach a younger generation because I want to
What is
share the knowledge that she gave me to the kids that I'm teaching now.
what is the biggest thing you learned from her, and like what is the biggest thing that you learned from your time at Dreyfus?
I think the biggest thing that I learned from her was to believe in myself. Because I went into that program being like, I'm a singer actor, and she made me believe that I could dance, which was really, really cool. And then she also had my back throughout the entire time as I was Gomez, because that was my
Hmm.
first lead, and I was terrified. I had my best friend at my side as Morticia, but I had a lot of self-doubt as to if I could do it and if the show would be good. Like I was just questioning myself the entire time, and she was always there to be like, you got this, just focus on your craft, get your shit done, and
Yeah,
it'll eventually come around. And so that's what I learned from her. But I just think, I there's a lot of things I learned from Dreyfus, but I mainly learned that I wanted to do this for a living coming out
yeah,
of that system. Like I found a true appreciation for theater as a whole, not just
yeah.
the performing aspect of it, but me being on like build crew and being friends
Hmm.
with the tech people and learning how hard their job is. Like I took all that stuff for granted when before I got to the school, but once I was there, I realized how much of a community everyone needs to be in order to put up a show. So I think that just
Yeah.
a level of respect for everyone involved is what I learned. and a love
Yeah,
for everything as well.
everyone's an artisan like in this industry, and people should just not be assholes. Like that's I feel
Yes.
like that's like the two things. Like everyone's an artist, everyone's working hard. Don't be an asshole to anyone.
Yeah, love and support everyone and every single piece of, theater that's out there. Like go see things that your friends are in, go support them, go love on their shows.
Yeah,
And I think that that needs to happen a little bit more.
damn straight. Oh, we got sappy. Wah,
I
wah.
know, God. Oh my God, punch me in the throat. So annoying.
Oh my
But
god, did you
it's
do
good.
thespians?
Of course I did thespians, Cat Gold. How many? I love the district festivals. They were so fun. Like it
Yeah.
was again, like it was Hunger Games themed one year, bringing it back to Hunger Games. It was like District 15, and we all like we were all like,
Oh, you.
yeah.
I always forget. That was the one thing I was grateful for is that our school was not in your district. We were in District 10. Like we did have West Boca, so that like because they popped out
Uh-huh.
some talented fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, like we would always be like, please don't let us be in the same district as the Dreyfus kids.
No, we always had so much fun. Like I loved the small group musicals. Like I did High Adventure from
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin, and then I did Airport Song from Honeymoon in Vegas, but we turned Airport Song into a tap number, and it
Mm-hmm.
was so fun. And then Dreyfus had those senior large groups, and that was like a big deal. Like if you were an underclassman and you got into the senior large group, everyone was like, "Oh my God." And I did
I can't believe your
Transylvania.
department had enough people to do a large group.
Yeah, we were fighting and clawing to get into that thing, but we did Transylvania Mania my senior year, and then we won Critics' Choice at state for that large group, and I got to
Oh
perform
shit.
on the
Oh
Straz
shit.
Center stage, and that was like the
Yeah.
most incredible experience like ever. So
Yeah.
shout out to the district festival and shout out to the Dippin' Dots at that festival. I was so obsessed with the rainbow Dippin' Dots. I was the reason they ran out of large cups. Like I'm so serious. Like I came back like the third day of the festival, and they put a napkin and they taped it over over the large cup like sign, because I'm pretty sure I was
Oh
the
my
reason why they
God.
ran out. I was addicted. And the next year, like I got back and like I panicked because I thought
Yeah.
that it closed my Dippin' Dot stand. Like, what are you doing? But it was all formatted and fixed at the end of the day. I found my Dippin' Dot stand. I stopped crying, and I had my large
Because
cup.
that's
So
what
we were all
really
set.
matters, not the competition, the Dippin' Dots.
Superior who? Critics' Choice where? Dippin' Dots number one.
I swear, actors are really driven by just like little treats. Like after an audition, you get a little treat. After a show, you get a little treat. After a competition, you get a little treat.
What?
Like
Where's your like go-to treat place? Like after an audition, like if you could have like one meal, what would that meal be?
a Domino's pizza, the two or more for 6.99 each.
Okay, a serious question though. Do you put the garlic on the crust, or are you not about the garlic crust at Domino's?
I want the garlic crust. What are you talking about?
Oh, cat. Oh,
I
cat.
ain't getting any. I'm gonna eat it all.
Okay, do you put pineapple on your pizza?
Absolutely not.
Okay, we're not friends anymore. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Are we getting a divorce on air?
This might be happening.
Oh, shit.
Listen, I'll confide. It's okay.
All
I'll
right.
take one for the team. We'll do half and half. You can have your whatever on your one side, and I'll have my pineapple.
I just eat cheese. I'm a pretty boring person.
Cat, I am too, but like I had pineapple once and it like changed my life. I was like, why? I shouldn't be liking this as an Italian person, but I
Yeah,
think I
you
am.
shouldn't. You shouldn't.
I'm a disgrace to my last
Yes,
name.
your own people.
They're like, let's not talk to him anymore. He eats pineapple on his pizza. What a freak.
So, other than Dippin' Dots, what's your post show audition, whatever treat?
Um, if I get out early enough, I love going to Jamba Juice. Jamba Juice is like terrific. Love that place. I get the orange dream machine, and then I get the impossible sandwich alongside it. Also, if Jamba Juice is somehow listening to this, please make your sandwiches a little bit larger. Like I can fit your sandwich in my palm comfortably. It's like the size of a children's size 2 shoe. Like it's
No shit, it's a
embarrassing.
health food place.
I don't care, but if I'm eating
How
healthy food, at least give me a fat person portion, okay? Like, let's stop cheaping around.
that's the point. That is the point. The
Not
literal point is to not give you.
not to me. Not to me. This is serious. We're
Jesus
we're getting
Christ.
all over the place with this.
Okay. Okay. So you did thespians. You did state. You got critics' choices at the Yin Yang. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I got like 4 or 5 of them.
Oh my God.
I know. Our small groups were the stuff. They were so much fun.
No
We
wonder you're insufferable.
I
You
know,
got too many
honestly.
critics' choices.
That's why I don't tell
Literally.
anyone, and now I just outed myself. So they're like, "Oh, you were the critics' choice kid."
Of course you fucking were. Of course. Of course. Yeah, never saw a critic's choice in my life. Let me just be like my high school, we could never go to state. We could get we I remember I would get like we would get excellence and superiors whatever at like districts whatever.
Yeah.
Um however, I did force my high school to go to
Mm.
state my senior year because I was the only one that got a superior. And I went, that means I could bring my other two things. I'm like, group of five of us, let's go. Like,
Get it. No, state was always so fun. I looked forward to that like every year.
yeah, no, I only got to do it once senior year and I was like, oh, this is magical. However, I met too many insufferable people. So that's the downside. However, I did get to see Boeing Boeing at Straz. That was like the one good thing. I skipped out on the
Mm.
dance to go do that.
You didn't go to the highly acquainted thespian dance?
No, I really didn't want to be in that actor orgy. That was not
Yeah.
something I was looking for.
No, if you stepped in there, you probably walked out with an STD. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was it was terribly disgusting in there.
It looked it. I literally went to my teacher and I was like, "Can we just go watch the play instead?" And he was like, "You don't want to participate?" And I was like, "Absolutely fucking not."
I'm like, why is everyone grinding on each other? Like I I remember this one time I was with my friend and we made a bet. We were like, let's start at one end of the dance floor and we're
Yeah.
gonna try to make it to the other side, and whoever can make it to the other side first wins. And I think I got lost in there, and I was like, I was like a lot. It was like Where's Waldo, but it was like Where's Michael, and you had to like look through this massive ballroom with like all these thespians like going crazy, and me panicking
Yeah.
and screaming because I don't know which way is up. So yeah, I wish I saw the musicals there. I mean, I saw what did they bring? I don't remember a lot of them, but I know we saw Next to Normal. A school did Next to Normal, and then a school did Blood Brothers.
Oh, you mean like the like actual performances? No, they had the smaller theater next to like the big one. Like they had like a professional company there, and we went to go see that instead. We just like
Got
straight
it.
up left the festival.
You said screw the stress center. We're going someplace else.
It was attached. It
Yeah.
was like their black box. We were like, well, we're gonna go there and go watch the sex comedy instead.
No, that's cool. I mean, I really just I wish I went and I saw those things instead of going to those stupid events. But
You
I mean,
probably
I
had fun.
I did. I mean, it's funny memories that you could talk about now, clearly, but looking back at it, I'm like, that's the grossest thing on the planet.
Yeah, no, my memories are of me being like a fucking grandma already when I was 17. I was like, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna go.
I'm going back to the hotel room. See you guys tomorrow.
Basically. But yeah, anyway, we've chatted so much. We're gonna have to do like a part two on this because like I feel like there's so much shit of like our education stuff that we like didn't get to
So much
because
nonsense to
we
behold.
we can't help but like run our mouths because like we didn't talk about like like all the unifieds or senior showcases or all that
Uh
kind of shit.
yes, the black box productions, those were always so fun.
You
Yeah, so
know,
let's
so
cement a part two sometime in the future because we definitely want to guest on, and our list is we got some bangers coming up, which will be
we've
super
suckered a
cool.
bunch of actors into wanting to come join the chaos.
Thank you for joining the nonsense in advance. We appreciate you. But
We hope you don't get canceled either.
yeah, no cancellations, no COVID. You know, we're all set. You know, we're all clean over here. Everything's good. Just a lot of nonsense and fun and whatever the hell we run a tangent onto. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone. We appreciate you tuning into episode 2. Look forward to us every Monday. We're gonna try to put these things out. And
Hell yeah,
thank
we're gonna
you.
put it out on our dark days because you know, actors work 6 days a week, so
Yeah, we busy people. So Mondays on the time where we're supposed to be relaxing, we're gonna work our normal jobs and then film a podcast at night. So we fill our time.
woohoo!
All right. Well, thank you for joining Non-Ec Nonsense. This is Michael Materdomini.
And Cat Gold.
And we will see you next Monday. Stay happy, stay healthy, and be blessed.